Before reading the brochure, I thought organic was the most sustainable option.
I thought that organic was a lot better than it actually turned out to be.
Organic.
Organic was the better one. Organic.
My beliefs were shaped by a lot of the people we looked at in class, like Michael Pollan.
That's what I had heard about a lot from my family and friends.
Being from California, I feel like that's a pretty big push now in the Bay Area.
That's what you hear the most.
Direct that's very I'm gonna bring you this great thing and it's organic food and telling people how to eat.
Whenever I go grocery shopping, I just see organic everywhere.
And you see it everywhere and you hear about it from everyone.
I kind of fell into that myself and was like, oh wow, organic food is this great thing. That's the healthiest way to go.
So I just assumed that that was the best option.
I never really heard of sustainable or diversified.
So you think, oh, that's the way to go.
It took me a while to kind of realize that I should interrogate that more.
Before reading the brochure, I would say sustainable or diversified. I think I went sustainable.
I probably thought that sustainable farming was the most sustainable option.
I didn't know specifically what diversified would entail.
And just because I knew that there was a lot of issues surrounding organic farming and a lot of the ethics around it and how it's not really that environmentally friendly.
What shaped my beliefs about different types of farming systems would be school and conversations with people.
I thought that diversified agriculture was the most sustainable.
I definitely thought that diversified farming systems were the most sustainable because I'd learned about them previously.
I have personal experience with aquaculture, and I know that many problems in aquaculture stem from monoculture.
After doing this project, I realized that sustainable and diversified farming systems are very similar.
I thought that diversified was the best.
Diversified is definitely the best.
I was debating between sustainable and diversified just because they sounded similar.
I thought that sustainable or diversified was the best.
I definitely thought that diversified farming was the most ideal.
The diversified farming system was the best.
Diversified was a better system.
I believe that diversified agriculture is the best solution.
I realized that it's something that kind of encompasses everything and it's something that feeds into itself.
I think that it's really important to include compensation for workers and indigenous people into when you're thinking about which farming system is the best.
Just because it uses the natural landscape in that farming system and doesn't utilize any external inputs.
As compared to organic, which can still practice monoculture, diversified doesn't.
Organic can still be monocultures and it can still hurt the environment and the people who are working in the systems. So after doing this project, I would say I'm not any more inclined to buy organic.
I don't think I would buy organic food.
I would be more likely to buy organic food over conventional food.
It's probably the same amount of likeliness for me to buy organic food.
If I had the money to buy more organic food, I would definitely buy more organic food.
Knowing that organic food still has a lot of problems, I'm not that much more likely to buy organic food other than health reasons. I would be more likely to buy organic food if I could afford it now.
I bought it for health purposes more than anything else, so that I wouldn't eat anything that had carcinogens in it.
I am not more likely than before to buy organic food.
I think that organic food is expensive and is kind of an elitist labeling scheme.
I currently limit myself to just the things that have very thin outer casings. The things like watermelon I don't, because the pesticides can't get in.
I thought everything was natural and use everything, but you also have to buy a lot of supplementary nutrients.
I would like to buy more organic products now, but I don't think I will just because they are still very expensive.
I just generally buy it when I can afford it.
But if there's an option for sustainable or diversified farmed food, then I'd be more likely to buy that over organic.
I definitely do want to try and support more local farmers markets or things like that when I can.
If they were labeled, I would definitely buy food from diversified and sustainable systems just because I've spent so much time learning about them and learning about their benefits, and I think that alternatives are always good, and I think I'd be interested to know whether they'd be cheaper than organic.
If they were labeled, I would be more likely to buy food from sustainable and diversified farming systems.
If sustainable and diversified were labeled, I 100% would buy food from there and support it.
Yes, if they were labels, I'd be more likely to buy sustainable or diversified over organic.
If they were labeled, I would be more likely to buy food from sustainable or diversified systems.
I would buy food from diversified and sustainable if it was labeled, just because
I have the knowledge, because we learned in this class the difference between diversified and sustainable and how they're both good for the environment. But if I didn't know, like, I would probably need like some kind of definition, or like, you know, to know the difference.
I definitely would be more likely to buy food from sustainable or diversified farms, but I feel like a lot of people wouldn't really know what that meant, and they would need kind of like a labeling system or an explanation of like how it's different than organic or like natural.
I would buy that food if they were labeled diversified or sustainable, just because I would know. But also I would probably have to know a little bit more about it and see like the difference in it, if it benefits me in any way.
I would buy products if they were labeled sustainable or diversified. However, I think that a lot of people probably still wouldn't know the difference between them, so I don't know if it would make that big of a difference in just consumer patterns.
So now that I know that diversified and sustainable farming systems do exist, I would be more likely to support policies that support those too.
I definitely want to support policies that are going to better these farmers that are doing sustainable and diversified, and want to get into that with my job.
I would definitely support farmers from alternative systems.
More likely to support sustainable and diversified farmers and policies that support them.
I would definitely support policies that benefit farmers in sustainable and diversified systems.
I'm more likely to help policies that help farmers, mainly from sustainable and diversified farming systems, just because those are the best for the environment.
I would definitely be more likely to support policy that helps farmers from alternative farming methods.
I would support the policies as long as it helps everybody in the long run. I would like to know how much it would cost them and how much like time they would put into it, and if it would benefit the ecosystem and the people as well.
I would support farmers from the diversified system.
I think the most shocking thing I learned while doing that is just how comparable organic and conventional can be in terms of like ecological impacts to it. Especially for me, I did carbon footprint, and they were about the same for a lot of things, so that surprised me a lot that organic has this huge rep of being something so great, but it isn't always.
I just thought organic had been the best, so it's been shocking to find that there's actually a better option with diversified and sustainable.
That diversified specifically helps indigenous farmers.
What I thought was interesting was that the conventional farming was actually pretty bad, because that's what is common here. So I was just like, well, like, it's actually affecting the like earth and stuff.
Because I did not know all of the stuff about soil health, and that taught me a lot.
Some organic products still need nutritional supplements. I didn't know that. I thought that they were, good to go. So
The diversified farming system is like the one that seems like best, and what most people are saying is best for the environment and like as a whole, and that not a lot of people are like actually practicing.
I knew that organic foods kind of had like issues in terms of like ethics and like methodology, but I didn't know that they're actually like really similar to conventional farming too, because like they use a lot of like monocultures and like CAFOs and stuff like that.
I learned that people are more likely to choose diversified systems, and when they do have more knowledge of them, and a lot of people may have not even known that they existed, and I think that spreading information, that this kind of information, is very important.